What is up, everyone? Welcome to Mechs on Deck. My name is Osiris. This is my co-host Chewy, and today our guest is Mr. Brandon Taylor. How you doing, my dude?
I am doing well, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. I've always lurked on your channel here and there, so good to finally be on the show.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it. Fellow Dixie sponsor in our month of Dixie, I guess.
Yeah, Lang kind of threw that one off. Sorry,
It's okay. Close enough.
You got too needy. No, love Lang. But yeah, welcome to the show and some strange times. We hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. You're doing your part right now by staying inside and watching a Twitch stream. So good job. But yeah, hope you guys are all doing well and everyone is staying safe and all of that good stuff. Real quick, just a quick shout out to our sponsors. The biggest shout out right now, obviously, Dixie Mech. You can go to mechsondeck.dixiemech.com, pick up GMK Botanical. The Bower coming out this Saturday at noon Central Time. So be sure to hopefully get in on that raffle and get yourself a Bower. I know it's a very high board. I've only tried one, and I'm not going to say that that one's a real a good example of what the Bower can be, but it's a thing. But yeah, make sure to check that out. And then Project Keyboards, Zap Cables, Canon Keys, Type Beast, and switchmod.net. Check out those links in the chat and use those links to help us out. If you are getting anything, getting stir crazy at home, and you're like itching to buy something, use those links. Helps us out.
Yeah, absolutely. And Clavier, thank you for the tier 1 sub for 4 months. How you doing? Hope your hand is doing much better. I know you had a rough weekend this past weekend with your kitchen catching fire. Welcome, everyone.
It happens to the best of us.
Right?
Anyway, Mr. Brandon Taylor, thank you for joining us. For those who don't know, Brandon is a tech reviewer, primarily on YouTube, but you can definitely check out his Twitch stream as well. He has done, I've recently gone on a Brandon Taylor binge and just gotten to listen to his smooth and relaxing voice that I talked about last night all the time, reviewing mostly computer peripherals, mice and keyboards, and now starting to dip into the mechanical keyboard world. I see one behind you, right. Just chilling back there on the couple behind you. Yeah. The Skeletor build. I definitely enjoyed that video. But make sure if you get that exclamation point guest, I put a link to his channel in there, so be sure to check that out. Welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Just self-quarantining, trying not to quarantine. Is that a word?
Yeah, sure.
It's a word now.
It's a word now. Just trying to stay sane. Went for a run earlier. Just trying to pass the time as much as I can till I can go back outside. So yeah. How about you guys? How are you guys doing?
Bored.
Yeah. I will say I'm learning a lot, as a lot of the people in the chat know. I am in hospitality. I'm a sales manager. I sell events, like I do like corporate groups, stuff like that for Event Center. But now I am learning how to do everything from front desk to housekeeping. So I did some work on our ironer, which is like insanely huge and could like kill you. So that was fun. But but no, it's been an interesting week, been a fun week. Hopefully things start to get better. Hopefully all of y'all in chat are taking the proper steps you need in order to keep yourselves nice and safe and sound.
I'll just take the camera into the bathroom and wash my hands on camera.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we usually start off with a fast 4. They do not have to be that fast, although we ask you do not pull an I am me, you are you and take an hour and 20 minutes to go through these. But the first of my fast 4 questions is your top 4 favorite switches.
Ooh, okay. So this has changed a lot recently, but I'd say Gateron Yellow Inks. Okay. Holy Pandas. What else? Gator on Black Inks and Zelios the 67 gram. Yeah. So those are my top 4 right now. But I do have actually just got these in.
Ooh,
Ooh,
Okay.
alpacas.
I got the alpaca. So that list could change very soon.
dude, the alpacas are nice. I just did some switch testing last week of the mauves, which are similar Duroc alternative to the alpacas, and man, they are insanely smooth. If you lube them up with some 205 grade 0, it just like takes them over the edge. They're pretty nuts. Next up,
That is
Oh,
a good
sorry.
variety. Well, I will say what Dixie said. It's good variety.
Mhm.
We don't. It's either all linears and holy pandas, or
Mhm.
all tactiles.
that's true.
I think that might be
I
the
was
first time that we have 2 and 2.
I was like really into like tactiles before I got the like Gateron yellow inks and the black inks. And now I'm like on this like linear spree. So like now like I'm really hyped for the like alpacas. I think I have like the marshmallows. I think those
Okay,
are coming. Yeah. So excited to try those as well.
nice.
Yeah.
It's cool too because like for a long time, basically all of since V2 Zelios and then the Holy Panda craziness of early last year, there were like no new switches until like summertime when inks got popular, and then all of a sudden we got all the different Durocs, and it's been a there's been quite a few switch bangers, as Chewy would say.
Bangers. Switching bangers and slaps. There it is.
So what do you so my question for you guys is what are you guys more into? Linear or tactile?
Tactile.
Yeah, Chewy's big on tactiles. I'm slowly liking linears more and more. I've always split it up. Like my work board has always been tactile for a long time, and then home was linear for the longest time. And then it was Zelio V1s, which aren't super tactile. And then I switched to Nolive creams, which is just a cream with a lighter spring and recolored. And I'm really enjoying those. So I don't know, and I'm excited to build something with these mauves that I lubed up and filmed, and can't wait to get those on a board and see how they are.
So I take it you guys aren't fans of blue switches? Clicky?
I have nothing. I'm really excited for the new Zelios clicky switches. So
Yeah, I wonder how
Zelios
those
is
are gonna
doing
be.
an Alps inspired clicky switch, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, I do like the click bar clicky switches, but anything with a click jacket is like, man, let me just hold my ears closed. I don't want to listen to that. It's pretty bad. But moving to the next in the fast 4, it'll be your top 4 favorite key sets.
Ooh, key sets. Okay, so I think the set that really like got me into like mechanical keyboards, like the whole like buying GMK sets was the Mito laser ones. Like that was like because I love like the old retro look, so that like when that one really got me. And then after that, probably like the Metropolis, that's one of my favorites now. Striker. And then I have here the best GMK set ever made.
Handerbite.
Gotta have the hander by it. So those are my top 4.
Handerbite is a meme that the community shall never forget at this point.
It's
Nor should they.
Yeah.
I mean, because the way I got that one was Teja actually like he challenged me on Twitter. He wrote to me. He was like, "All right, the ball's in your court." He showed me his order. He's like, "You got to put in your order." So I was like, "All right." So at the time, I didn't really like realize what I was even like purchasing. So I just like got it because I was like, "All right, I'll trust Teja." I get the set in and like, oh man, it's a disaster, but it's a beautiful disaster.
Exactly.
I actually watched that stream where you unboxed it.
Oh yeah,
It was a train wreck that you just
it
can't
was a
look
train
away
wreck.
from.
Oh my god. So, but yeah, it's a great set. I have so many sets like I feel like on order that I'm looking forward to, but everything's just being pushed back, so kind of upset about that.
Feel you.
Yeah.
So next up, top 4 favorite boards. They don't have to be ones that you own, maybe ones that you're excited for, but top 4 favorite boards.
Okay. So I definitely love my Think 6.5. I like the Q. and then I like I'm looking forward to. I have the Iron 165 coming, and then I have what else do I have coming? I'm really looking forward to. Oh man, what's that board? Escapes me right now. I have. Let's see.
What's the layout? You can.
What's the I think it's so like the Rama 65B.
Oh,
Yeah.
M65.
Oh.
Yep,
M65B, sorry.
there it is.
So those are ones I'm looking forward to, and I also have a commission from Teja coming up that
Ooh.
we have under wraps right now. I'm looking. That's probably like my number one, but
It's
yeah, so
it's his number one, guys.
yeah,
This
it's my
is
number one.
Number one, guys.
Hopefully, it's my number one.
I mean, it might be a number 2. Who knows?
Yeah.
No, man. What color did you get on the Iron 165?
I believe I got is it graphite or black? Is that what it? Yeah, graphite or black.
Dark
Yeah.
gray.
The dark gray. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have that one coming or?
We actually have a prototype of it coming. I don't know. I don't remember which color we're getting.
I think we're getting a plum prototype.
Yeah, I think we're getting a plum prototype to mess around with for a little bit, which is going to be fun.
Nice.
So
yeah, I almost got the plum, but I don't know. I was like, I don't know if it felt limiting in the sets that I could probably combat it with. So, or combine it with. So I was like, just ended up going with the, with the graphite, the safe choice.
all right,
Food.
so yeah, sorry, I blanked out there for a second. Hey, it's been a long day. All right, it's been a long week, and it's only Tuesday or Wednesday. See, it's been a long week. All right, I don't even know what day it is. No. So next up is your top 4 favorite foods. A little bit of a departure from keyboards.
Ooh. So probably number 1 is pizza. Number 2 is ramen. Number 3 would be probably hot pot. I really like hot pot. And last would be probably In-N-Out burger. That'd probably be my 4th. Yeah.
All great things. All great things.
Have you guys had In-N-Out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
we've got a bunch. That whenever it first came to Dallas, it was like you'd wait an hour and a half in line to get your food, and I was like, it can't be that good. And then I tried it, and I was like, it's all right.
Now, have you guys tried Shake Shack?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now
we have Whataburger out here, so
okay,
that's kind of king out in Texas.
Whataburger has more more options, but In-N-Out's definitely good. It's just I can't get over their fries, as they're just not as good as like Whataburger. So
see what I heard Whataburger was overraid.
it depends.
That's
Are you guys being biased here? Are you guys being biased?
See, what gets me is I don't like the buns on In-N-Out. I hate the buttered buns on In-N-Out.
The way I like to put it is, so if I'm trying to eat a burger and still feel okay after, like I want something for energy more or less, for just like that big fat greasy burger, I'm gonna go to In-N-Out to get something that's a little bit better. I don't feel as bad. But if I want something like, it's late at night, maybe I was out at a bar all night and I'm feeling a little good,
a Monterey Melt.
I'm gonna go get myself a Monterey Melt from Whataburger, and it's going to be greasy and it's just gonna like hit the spot. So that's kind of my differentiation between the two.
I'll still choose Five Guys over both of those, though. Boom, there it is. Smell my bird.
What? Dude, Five Guys is like $20 for like everything. It starts adding up once you like add the fries, the drink. That's like,
yeah, but that's not even, I would consider that grab and go versus. I have a big thing about grab and go, like Chipotle, Five Guys versus actual fast food. So, but we can talk about food later. Keyboards. So you recently got into keyboards. Obviously, you have reviewed probably more keyboards than most of us have
Mm.
touched in a lifetime. So I kind of want to dive into, you have now obviously you have a lot of experience with we call them box boards,
Yeah.
just box brand boards. So I guess maybe tell us how you got started in tech reviewing in general, and then kind of your experience with some of these boards and if they've gotten better over time.
Okay. So I started tech YouTube maybe I don't even know how long it's been, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But the way it actually started was weird. I used to make workout videos. So I started on YouTube doing workout videos. And one day I had this set of earbuds that I really like for the gym. And I was like, you know what? Let me do a review on it. Let me just tell people it works great for the gym. I did it. Like before that, my videos were getting maybe like 23 views. I was just doing it for my family and friends. And then one day I did that video. It got like 100,000 views. And I was like,
What?
okay. Like, like imagine like 23, 23, 23, like 100,000. And I was like, whoa. So then I started to like think like, okay, maybe I'm actually good at this. So um, I just ended up doing more headphones. And then I was always into computers since I was very young. So it just was like natural to kind of like move into that after a while, after I got done with like headphones. And one of my first keyboard reviews was like the Ducky 1 2 Mini. That was like one video that really kind of like blew up my channel. And that was like I wasn't even gonna do it, honestly. I didn't really know much about keyboards, like, I was just like I had like a K70 before that, and, so, like, going from, like, a K70 to, like, a Ducky 1 2 Mini, people were seeing it in my videos, and they're like, "Hey, like, do a review." So I was like, "Okay." So I kinda just researched on it and started to, kinda, like, get myself familiarized with, like, how the, like, mechanical keyboards, like, worked and what to look for, um but I would say, like, my video or my reviewing style is more on the simple side. Like, I try to make it very consumable for, like, just, like, the average viewer. So if you've never like, bringing, like, the stuff like, say, like, alpacas or, like, holy pandas or like the Zeal switches, that was another video that really blew up. Things that people don't really know about. So kind of like crossing that bridge of like, okay, finding the best stuff for people and saying like, hey, look, like try this instead of like going and getting like a K70, right? Like,
Mhm.
so that's kind of like what my channel has been about. Um, and yeah, so now like with like box boards, I feel like they're kind of getting better, they're getting more colorful. A lot of
Hmm.
company like, that's, like, the thing right now, is, like, the colorfulness and one board like, I wanna get your guys' opinion on this, is I don't know if you guys have tried the Apex Pro TKL or any of those, the Steel series. 'Cause that keyboard right now is kind of like, um, the keyboard that's blowing up in the Fortnite community, and everybody is, like, on that keyboard, right? Everybody is, like, ask me every day I get questions about that keyboard. Just because you can change like the actuation point in the switch. And I always tell people there's like better bang for your buck out there, you know. So have you guys heard anything? Do you guys know anything about that keyboard?
Isn't that the one with like
The
it's
switch can be changed.
yeah, it can be changed like they're
Yeah, it can be changed, yeah.
optical switches instead of or like analog like full on
Yeah,
analog
there's analog,
switches.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm,
So I'm looking at this stuff right now. I haven't tried it yet. Um, it's an interesting it's an interesting concept because knowing what I know about switches, it's 8 times faster response. Okay, well that doesn't mean anything because response time is what you see and how fast you react as a human.
mhm.
That doesn't really get affected too much by the keyboard, other than unless you're going to extremes. 5 times faster actuation. Now I'm looking at the actuation point here, and it says zero point 0.4 millimeters, which, yes, okay, like you've got that one, so respect, because usually the average is not zero point 0.4 millimeters. I'd be worried about. I know Osiris had some experience with the speed silvers,
Mhm.
and how it's like you just like hover your finger over it and it's already actuated like 6 times.
Yeah.
Um, And then durability, who knows? That's just one of those. So those are like their three main selling points, and I'm just kind of like, okay. I mean, I'd 100% try it, but at the end of the day, it's like it's all new technology. Are you only selling this in the board? Are there plans of selling the switches elsewhere? Are they MX compatible? Are you able to throw them in any PCB that you want? Those are stuff where it's like, this is all great, but if it's stuck in the board, then it's not helping anybody but you.
Yeah, I mean, but it's one of those things too. What I feel like a lot of times people don't realize about like actuation point and actuation faster is it's not about the point the switch actuates, it's about the full travel of the switch. Because especially when you're gaming, you're going to bottom out more often than not anyway. So that's why like a lot of people use O-rings not only for the fact that it cushions the bottom, but it also lowers the full travel of the switch. So that's what's funny to me about the actuation point, because it's like it realistically doesn't matter as much. It does help the it's obviously sending that like you're pressing W to the computer faster. But if you're still bottoming it out, it doesn't mean like you're actually going to be able to move any quicker or, strafe any faster.
Yeah. It's kind of what I said in my review. Like nobody's really like, unless you're like lightly tapping, like really, really lightly, like most of the time you're going to be like in a battle, you're going to be like nailing your keys, like, pressing them as hard as you can,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's why like every time I see, we have this new switch, I'm like, what is it? MX compatible? One. And two, are you planning on releasing this switch to be bought outside of boards? Because oftentimes a lot of these boards, since they're manufactured in such a large scale, that a big part of custom mechanical keyboards is, the board that you're getting oftentimes is made, since there's such a small run, the quality control is great. It's going to be just a nicer, a better put together product, where they're pumping out 100,000 of them. It's just it's iffy, and I'm not trying to be biased, because those are usually pretty good. Like those most of the boards you get over $150 are going to be fine. They're going to work, but and at the end of the day, you're not buying a rubber dome board, so like props. But when it comes to like moving into the custom world, it gets real iffy on whether or not there's that great translation.
All right.
Yeah, I think one thing I will say is I love that it's made out of like fully aluminum. That's one thing that I've seen like in the last couple of years, is that things are getting made out of more premium materials and the price isn't going crazy high.
Yeah.
And people experimenting with the smaller sizes, like the Ducky 1-2 Mini, which a lot of people don't remember the Ducky. I think it's the Ducky 1, the Ducky Mini. I can't remember the exact name for it, but it had really big bezels and it was really small, and it didn't really do well when it first released. And now it's obviously the 1-2 Mini's like the new thing.
Yeah, that's like the keyboard.
Yeah, the Ducky
but
Mini.
I've been noticing that people are doing that too. Like everybody's moving over towards like the aluminum, and the prices aren't going up, so that's good. But one of my favorite, like I'll often switch over back to my like 1-2 Mini, just to like if I'm just gaming a lot, like and I'm like beating up my keyboard, I'll just switch over to the Ducky 1-2 Mini, and it's like still gets some use like in my rotation. So
this is interesting. So on this board, only the 60% part of the TKL actually has those switches.
So that's another part. Yeah, like I don't understand why they did that. They only did it on.
That's just money saving. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you're going to be hitting it the most. But like, I know people. I don't personally play League, but I know people that play League and have to use the F-Row, and I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I get it. You're trying to save money, but that's just a little strange to me.
They didn't even put them on the arrow keys, if I remember correctly, either.
Yeah, that's
weird.
It's like, what?
Because what about all like your left-handed people that use arrow keys, or people who are right-handed that just are used to using arrow keys and like pieces of the numpad? there's a lot of people that do that. Interesting.
Yeah.
But
So, I have to say, I've been ready for this. So you said in a video
Mhm.
that 65% is the best layout.
I did, yes.
Chewy's
And I
taking
want to
a
tell you how
offense.
wrong you are, sir.
Yeah.
Look at that. Delphin knows what's up. And just how much of I fucking turned the video off right there. I was like, this guy doesn't know what he's fucking talking about. I was like,
Come on, 65 is so good.
Dude, I'm starting to love the fact that Chewy hates 65% because every time someone's like, "Hey, do you want to try out this 65?" I just know I get to try it out because he hates them, and I'm like, I love 65s. So
just started to work.
Okay. So what's your reasoning for hating 65% keyboard?
Okay, so I like symmetry.
Okay.
2, my function key is on my caps lock. So I can one-hand caps lock WASD my arrow keys.
Okay.
I don't need page up and page down 99% of the time. And my delete or tilde or whatever, my tilde is because I do split backspace, my tilde is already on my home row. Or not
Okay.
home row, but my base layer 0. So people often use it for delete. That's caps lock escape. And page up, page down, that's somewhere on my board. It's usually the comma and period. So I just don't need that extra row of stuff.
Mhm.
It throws off the symmetry. I don't need arrow keys. Oftentimes you wind up with the diving board, which with matching. I love accent everything. I love the accent keys. So I'm like, oh, I want to use the accent arrow keys, but then you wind up with a diving board, and that can look goofy. So end of the day, I'm like, to me, it's pointless because I'm like, I'm buying this board that I don't like the look of it as much, and it can do everything a 60% can do. I can do everything with my 60% that a 65% can do. I like 75%. I like TKL. I have a full size that's fantastic. 65% is just right there where I'm like, this is useless. And this is now, and I'll say, I've had a Tada. I bought a Zephyr. Like, I've had nice 65%. Don't care anymore. So
Yeah, so okay, so I get your point on the symmetry, but okay. I just like having the arrow key. When I noticed when I was using like 60% keyboards, I would always reach for the arrow key still. Like I didn't care about anything else. Like I don't care about the delete, the home, the page up. I don't care about. I hardly use those. I only use those mainly like when I'm editing videos. But I do use the arrow keys when I am scrolling through pages, and I don't know why it's just like a muscle memory thing. So having those arrow keys back, I'll take the non-symmetry. I'll take it.
yeah, someone in chat was asking about what a diving board is. That's a diving board. Basically, arrows plus accent arrows plus accent enter makes it look like kind of like a diving board. So
now, and I'll give
Man, I
credit.
love that. I love the
Like
diving board.
the Bower is one of the first 65% that I was like, okay, I get it. You've accomplished symmetry. But because of the wind keyless blockers, I'm like, okay, you've accomplished that, but not everything is. It's just the other thing too is like I don't need it. I like 60%. And if I'm going for something bigger than a 60%, I might as well go for an F row too. Because vertical space does not bother me. I don't care about vertical space. But if I'm going for something bigger, that much more is not going to have any improvement the whole experience of anything. But like anything bigger, I'm like, okay, I understand why I'm having this much more space. So yes, that is why I rage turned off the video and then laughed and then went and hit Control Shift T, restarted it, continued. And actually, so the first video I watched of you was your Holy Panda review, which I thought you did a fantastic job.
yes,
Thank you.
You did.
I remember posting it in our Discord and be like, "Hey, I don't even really know who this guy is, but this is a bigger tech reviewer going over Holy Pandas. That's awesome.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Thank you, thank you. And I feel like I'm still kind of like learning like what makes up a good switch, what you know, I think as time goes on, like when I first got Zelio switches, I was like, "Oh man, this is amazing," right? And then like now that I'm kind of like getting like deeper and deeper, I'm kind of like they're good, but like it's not like I don't feel the same way I felt about them when I first got them, you know? So it's like I think it's always changing. Um and I'm always like trying to learn and like come out with like the most information I can like of what I know of at the time, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how
Yeah.
it is though with the community because it's ever changing, right? So
Yeah.
like, I mean, before there was Holy Pandas, everyone was goo goo gaga over Zelio V1s, and then
Mhm.
Holy Pandas came out and people were like, "Whoa, this is crazy!" And then they shot up to like $5 a Switch because you couldn't buy them anymore, and then they remade all of them, and oh, Cartoon 91 brings up a good point. Got to make some Zycos, which is a Chewy original. It's like a Zelio Holy Panda
basically take
hybrid.
everything you like about Holy together. It's a lot. Basically, so Zyko is you take the bottom housing of a Zelio V2,
Okay.
and then the top housing and the stem, or the top housing of a Panda, and then a Halo stem.
Mhm.
And it sounds great. And the bump is bigger and rounder than both a Holy Panda and a Zelio V2. So it's just like it's all bump.
Wow.
From top to bottom, it's just it's like there's no like stop and then go down. It's just it's a D and not a P, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
Church of Psychos, thank you, Alansky, my
But
boy.
but that sounds so expensive. That
It is.
like
It's very expensive.
that sounds very
It's
like
very wasteful, but they are fantastic.
okay. Yeah.
We'll talk after, and I'll send you some.
Okay. Yeah. I'll try some out. I know was it Visionaire actually sent me a bunch of Frankenstein switches, I think. And
There might be one
again
in
like
there.
yeah, I'm like yeah. So but yeah, well, how do you guys feel about Frankenstein switches?
I mean, Psychos are my favorite, so
Yeah.
I like the fact that, and that's kind of with most things with keyboards, right? But you get these things that you are able to customize. You get these things that you're able to tailor an experience. We talk about building a keyboard as an experience and a typing experience, and so my entire search for this was that I was like Zelios, and I'm actually right there with you. I even messaged Osiris the other day. I was like, honestly, Zelios are kind of falling off the top 4 list for me because
Yeah.
they just don't sound as good. I don't think
Mm.
they have as good of a sound. In Android, yes, I do use the Zelio. And so I was trying a Zelio or a Xanda, so a Zelio stem inside of Panda housing. And I was like,
Okay.
this is fine. It's good. It sounds all right. And then I was like, all right, well, the Halo stem sitting here with the Zelio, just throw it in, see how it feels. And I was like, I like the feel of that way more, but it still has that crappy Zelio sound of a tactile where it's just very like it hits the plastic hard, and it's just you can it sounds thin. So I was like, I
Mhm.
wonder. I have all these Yak tops because Osiris was cleaning all the bottoms of them. I have all these Yak tops sitting here. I wonder if I just throw that on top, how that'll be, and boom, it was born. And I was like, great. I now have a Switch that feels amazing and sounds amazing, and it's not a.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about Franken switches. Is I get to create things that are awesome, and there's so many different things that that's something that won't ever exist a
Mhm.
Zyko because it's like, well, it's 3 different companies would have to work together on this, and that's
Right. It's not
so.
gonna happen, yeah.
Yeah.
Ed? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think Franken switches are great because they give people an opportunity to like really dive in deeper. Like
Mhm.
obviously something like the Zyko is a creation, but then there's other people who go even further than that and start replacing like leaves from other switches, and then it's like a whole nother level.
Crazy.
And people will like put like a Holy Panda leaf inside of like a cherry switch, and it just completely changes it. So I'm always down for people to experiment and just figure out what they, figure out what they like, figure out what they want to do with it. Um, but
I know some
it's
people can
cool.
be like purist, right? Like they just like they want it to be like stock and like not, I met some people that have been like, oh, like I don't agree with that. I think you just have it how it is and not mess with it. Um, but I just got some TX springs and like
Hmm.
films. So I've been like experimenting with that recently. And I'm like, wow, like you can actually do a lot,
Yep.
like you said, like switching out everything. So I'm interested. Like that's gonna be like my next step is like trying to make these like Frankenstein switches and like I have to try that one.
Yeah,
The
dude.
Zycos.
So they're intense. But in even like uh the springs can change every. At least with
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
tactiles, linears. It's either how light or how hard. With the tactile, you can round out a, you can sharpen a bump. It can really affect. Like I found recently that um, I loved 78 grams on my Holy Pandas for the longest time, and then Novel Keys came out with 74 grams, and I liked 70 gram, but I didn't like the return, and I love 78 because the return's great. But I'm like, yeah, you do lose just a smidge of tactility, and then I was like, oh, 74 came out, and it's been my favorite. It's been like hands down my.
Mm. So do you guys have like a favorite weight that you guys usually go with?
It's tough.
Yeah, it's
It's
hard because it's
tough.
all over the place. Like I have a board that's got 63 and a half, which is a weird spring weight, but
Yeah.
it's good. My Nolives, so the creams, they have a 63 and a half. I have a couple 67 and then a 70 and 78 and then I think a 72 and then like a 90. I forget that my plums are like 95 actually, I think.
I've
But that's
never
a
tried a
stock.
90. I feel like that would be very hard to type on.
It's not
Surprising.
it's not too bad.
Chewy has entered the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for linears, anything anything below 80 grams, I'm a fan.
Really?
Oh
So
yeah. So I
what's
got
the reasoning behind that?
so to me, tactiles are going to feel heavier because it's a bump. Linears don't have the bump, therefore a 70-gram tactile is going to feel heavier than a 70.
Mhm.
So for me, I have to what's the word I'm looking for? Make that basically just I have to make that weight up. And
Mhm.
so I bought and it's actually kind of discovered how the heavy springs. I bought 80-gram Cherry MX gold plated springs from KVD, and I used them for a long time and I loved them. They're fantastic, and they were super duper smooth but very heavy. And then I bought 85-gram TX springs. So I was like, oh, it'll be heavier. And I was like, these are lighter. I realized the Cherry rates on actuation force,
Mhm.
not actual bottom out force. So they're like 103-gram springs.
Holy.
And so I was like, oh, okay, well, that's why. And so I just got some 89-gram novel key springs. I think he's killing it with the springs right now. So I'm probably going to wind up going with those. Because I will say, after a little bit, um, when the weight is shooting it back up, that will make it sound a little more intense.
Mhm.
But with typing on something like that, like 89 to 90, I feel like that's very comfortable for me. And
Mhm.
linears, because I'm usually in the higher end of 70, the 74 is about the lowest I go on
Wow.
tactile. So
Hmm. Interesting.
What about you? Are you lighter? Are you kind of in the middle?
Um,
Have you felt something crazy heavy yet?
I
try
think the
some super
heaviest
blacks.
I think the I think the heaviest I've gone is like I think the Gator on Black Inks, which those are what, 70?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was like the heaviest. And like after typing on like my yellows for a while, I was like my fingers were getting tired. I was getting fatigued.
Hmm.
So
So I'm gonna send you a board. I'll just you talk about you did workout videos, hand workout videos.
Yeah, there you go.
but
Yeah, I
So, but
think
yeah,
I,
it's springs are it's quite interesting to me how springs are kind of like 90% of the Switch, as at least when it comes to tech. It's like finding the right spring to me is almost more important than the like start
Like,
with that because that can change so much.
hmm, hmm. What about stabilizers? Do you guys think that those make a difference? Like the GMK ones versus like the Duroc ones that are coming out?
Uh,
Do you think those make a difference?
Absolutely. So like the Duroc. So there's I guess three different ones right now that are big. You can lump the Zeal and the Durocs kind of together because they're pretty similar. But you've got the C3, which are like the Palm ones, and then GMK, which is what everyone's really used for a long time, and then of course your Duroc and your Zeals, which are like the big ones right now.
Hmm.
Durocs are a lot smoother, in my opinion. A lot
They
smoother,
are
a lot easier to deal with too, because you don't have to clip them. So I think it makes a big difference. Obviously, GMK screw-ins, they had an issue. It really started like in the late summer, early fall, um, where they started to have some issues with the tolerances there, and it started to create some issues with additional scratching and stuff. But the Durocs are awesome. They fit in a good spot price wise too.
yeah. Zerkowski will ask that question in just a moment. Yeah, I would say Durox right now because of the GMK inconsistencies.
Hmm.
I definitely GMK screw-ins up until I built a prototype board, and it was like, oh, some are good, some are bad, and I was like, I'm curious now how it actually is. And then I got some bad ones, and I was like, oh, okay, it literally doesn't matter how well you get, how good you can get a good lube job on. These are just bad.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was kind of. I remember Osiris and I were like, it's like, what now? Like, there's, it's like either get Zeals and pay that huge price, or and like I was just happy that I was like, okay, well, I've got a lot of old GMK stats that have been sitting for months, almost a year. Um, so, but yeah, I would say like the purple ones, those are, if you don't care about the purple, get those.
Okay. Yeah, because I was about to build my queue, but then one of my mods, he's like, "What are you gonna put in it?" Like, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put a GMK screw in." It's like, "No, dude, get the Duroc." So I have those on the way, but I don't know if they're delayed or what, but they're somewhere.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
good. It's a little bit extra money, but it's worth it. It's
It's
worth
like a
it.
Mhm.
dollar, but it's like a dollar more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to like Zeal, that's literally like $30
Well,
more.
it's funny because we made a video literally talking about stabs, and we were like, man, it would be great if someone came in and they just sat in between Zeals and GMKs, like maybe just a little bit higher than GMK, and uh, were just as good as GMK, if not a little bit better. And
Mhm.
then Durox came out, and it was like, all right, cool. Hey,
Here,
it happened.
here it is.
There it is, done.
Yeah, because I think everyone was pretty excited about the C3, which look great. But those also have, I think, a little bit of
Issues.
scratchiness issues. So, and they were like a limited thing. I don't know of anywhere that's actually still
Yeah,
selling
I don't know if they
C3.
are going to continue, or maybe it was like this was kind of like a trial run, and they were like, let's make a bunch, see how it goes. Either keep going and improve, or just call it a day. Because I was excited about those. I haven't given them the fair shot outside of a board, outside of the one board I tried them in.
Mhm.
I'd like to give them another shot. I just haven't built anything for myself that would try them. So,
Okay.
but
C3s Clavier are Palm. Those are the Palm ones versus the Durox. I think are polycarbonate.
mhm. So, quick question for Brandon by Zerkowski. How's the coil doing on Swift Shell's cable? Mine ships in 2 days.
They're actually really, really good. The reason why, like, usually, like, when I do a video, I won't actually put out something unless I really like it, because if it's bad, then, like, it just comes back to me, right?
Yeah.
So I tested it for a while. I was pretty rough with it. It's still, like,
There you
I don't
go.
know. It's still, yeah, it's still really good. So yeah, you can buy with confidence. They're a really good manufacturer for or maker of keyboard custom cables.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, what do you have planned for your very very next build?
So the next build is probably gonna be the Q.
You
So I was able to get my hands on one of those, and then probably gonna put the alpacas in it, the Durox stabilizers, and yeah, probably I'm thinking like the GMK Mizu on it.
Oh,
There you go.
yes.
Yeah,
Love me
so
some
that's probably
music.
gonna be the next build. I'm still waiting for like the Polaris. I'm still waiting for like the Iron 65, but I'm kind of like I'm getting antsy. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like I feel like I need to do something or like put something together, but I'm having to wait for all these like different things to come in and
Dude,
uh,
it goes in waves. At least for
Yeah.
me, it goes in waves because I'll go through like 6 months where I just buy up a ton of stuff, and then I start to get that in, and then I just don't buy anything, and then there's like a little bit of dry spell, and then I'm like, I want stuff, and then I just buy more.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
it's rough, but it's nice. It's nice to
I
get
know.
cool things in.
Now I'm just on Geek Hack, like just looking at interest checks, group buys, like what can I get? Like what's actually can um
Smell my bird. I got in on Godspeed essay. Yeah, I'm in that weird spot where one, Osiris has had two of my boards for like a month.
mhm,
Now.
Hey,
He was working on some videos with them, and so like I'm excited to get those back in into the rotation because I've been on my wife's used her one of her boards. The PCB kind of crapped the bed, so she's using my Fiel right now, and which highly recommend getting the Fiel. By the way, I know you're like, oh, I need 60% Fiel. If you want a
all right,
60%, that's good Fiel.
yeah,
all
Uh,
right.
round
I'll
five
check that one
starting
out.
soon.
yeah, starting soon, shipping July. So and it's reputable buyer, which we'll get into that topic in just a
Oh yeah.
moment. But I've been on that my TX60, and I'm like, I just miss my Austin and my Baca. So
Yeah, I've
miss the
had
Holy Pandas.
yeah both your Holy Panda boards. Is there anything that you've seen on Geek Hack recently that you're like dying to get? Like you can't wait for it to go into group buy?
Okay, so I wanted I missed out on I think it was the Duck. I don't know. It was like a keyboard, the Duck Orion.
Okay.
Yeah,
I missed out on that one, so I was kind of upset about that. But I know me and one of my coworkers, he actually loves Gundam. So the Unit One, I'm really looking for. I hope that goes through to group buy.
GPO
Um,
one.
yeah, because I got the Unit One canoe or O1 canoe, so the Gen 2. Outside of that, what have I seen recently?
The
I
jewels
think
would be right up your.
oh yeah, I actually have the jewels. So the jewels is coming. I got the navy one, so that'll be coming in. Yeah, so looking forward to that. Um, I like. Did you guys get GMK Ashes? I really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I got in on Ashes.
Yeah,
It's a basic sets, simple sets
Yeah.
yeah,
they're easy. They're just it's easy. It's like, oh, I know this is 99% of the doesn't matter the color. That's what like you took a risk on buying I remember you saying KBD 67 Mark II. And
yeah.
that's a set where it's like, oh, you can buy a flashy colored
Mhm.
throw something like that on. Oh, it's basic, it's simple, it will work. So also Muffin of Sin, thank you for the 8 months.
Yeah, I've actually been moving more towards like minimal. I think this year is like before I was like RGB, like flashy, like keycap sets. Now this year I'm like, I just want like Moto Light. I want I just want like some of these like cleaner sets, like botanical. Like I just want some of these like cleaner sets, like cleaner setup overall. So that's what I'm mainly looking for this year. Outside of that, group buys. I'm trying to think. I know there's like a ton. I'm like always looking at something.
I was looking for it. I've been using an
Yeah.
RGB just like
Dude,
the
I
RGBs have been
so I'm not gonna lie, and hopefully Dixie doesn't get mad at me, but I actually have the LTT Bauer right now. The one that they're giving away at Mech Madness. I've been
Oh, you have it.
I've been using it every once in a while, and I'm like, man, I hate the spacebar, but boy, is this board like incredible. Like,
I'm surprised you haven't just popped the spacebar out, thrown on another one temporarily, just gamed with it that.
the other day, I thought about just taking all the caps off and just using it for like a day with regular caps, but man, it's just like this board is so beautiful. Yeah, but
Anything that you guys are looking forward to, or what should be on my radar? What do you guys think? You guys had a suggestion for me.
Well, you've scratched that, you've ticked that box, the Teja Commission, which, you know, enough about that. Obviously, I know that'll check that box for you.
I'll tell you guys after. I'll tell you guys after the stream.
Yeah, of course, man. I'm telling everyone buy a Fiel. I don't need 2 Fiels.
He just wants someone else he knows to have a Fiel so he can borrow it and see what the difference is between round 4 and round 5.
I don't even think there is going to be a difference between it. But I've been recommending the Fiel to everybody.
Okay.
The Baka 60 will be coming out this year.
Yeah, it's his board.
And then I'm really excited for the Godspeed 7. I think that's going to be a cool
The Godspeed.
Yeah. I would say for you, I feel like something that you might want to try is get like an Alice style board. The split the Ergo style board.
Actually, I think Clavier is making me one.
Yeah. Dude, try one of those. It's going to be that's cool. It's a cool difference. Like, it's one of those things when you are typing on it at first, you're like, this is so weird. And then like 2 hours later, you're like, I love this thing. Because it feels so much more natural. At least for me, it does. I love my OSA is what I have. It's the open source Alice. It's the full name. But I think that, and then I'm really excited for the 7V. The more that I look at it.
Oh yeah, that one. That's one that I really want.
Yeah, 7V and Evolve. Those are the two, because I want another 75. I have a 75, an orange 75, and I want something that's got a little bit of an angle to it and is a little bit different. So 7V and Evolve are two that I'm like really looking out for.
Yeah.
Caffeine connoisseur, I'm going to ban you for that comment, by the way.
If there's
That's a great question, caffeine connoisseur. I think it's a great question.
If Mech's on Deck makes a 65%, it will be my board. But my board will never happen because my board will be ridiculous. Although the Evolve 75 gives me hope for what I want to do.
Stuff.
Yeah.
So, Cyrus, are you saying that you're a 65% lover too?
Oh, he loves them.
I started on a 65%. So my first board, and ironically, Chewy's first board, were both Tada 68s, which is a 65% layout. It was like before the Tofu existed. It was like the board to get in for like $100. It came as a kit. You could put whatever switches you wanted in it. A great deal, plastic case, then you could upgrade to an aluminum case later. I started with that, fell in love with that layout, and then I actually bought another one, so I had one at work, one at home. And then I just kind of went from there. I got a 75%, which is literally the same thing, just plus F-row. And then I've branched off into 60s. I have a couple 60s. I don't have anything better. That's the thing. I'm going to get a TKL this year. At some point, I will get a TKL. I've wanted one. I'm going to get a TKL, and who knows, maybe I'll get like a 40 or a 50%.
40? I don't know. I've seen the 40s. I don't know if I can go that low. I don't know.
I almost just want one just to say that I have one.
Try it. Just to have. Just.
They look very aesthetic.
I need to get like an acrylic one. Like I need Claudia 40%. That would be like the perfect, like I'm in for a 40%. And those are not going to be like breaking.
Yeah.
No, and what's funny is my favorite layout is a 60%, but I love using the Austin, which is a huge board. So the Austin is, I'm sure you've seen like the CP style layout boards. So it's got the 10, it's got the number pad.
Okay.
And this one's just a smidge longer, so that it can utilize the full 2U0. It's very different from using a 60% for the majority of the last 2 years. But after that, it's like once you want like adding that on the board or adding that on my desk, it was like the first day I had to like almost put the board off of the desk mat that I use so that I wouldn't run my hand into it while gaming. And I've gamed on an Alice, and that's a weird experience.
Dude, I tried for like 20 minutes and I just took the board, I unplugged the board and in the middle of a game, tabbed out, unplugged the board, and then swapped. I was like, nope, can't do this. Not happening. Messing with my head.
When companies send me like full size keyboards and I have to test it, I'm always hitting the side now. Like I just it's like clank, clank, clank.
Dude, I can't.
COD on your OSA. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I played Gears 5 on my OSA. Like I played the whole game of Gears 5 on the OSA. It was fantastic.
So as much as I would want to game on my Orange 75, I can't because the USB is on the right side. And if I did, because I slant my keyboard so much, if I just ran into it once, I would just destroy this PCB or the cable. It would be awful because this PCB sucks.
Do you guys have your keyboards at an angle or do you guys have it straight on?
Angle when gaming.
Angle when gaming? Okay.
I'm like, my angle when I play video games is like,
it's not an angle. That's just turning it 90 degrees one direction.
Yeah, I go like probably like
You're
a good.
that goes like
I don't go full straight. I would say it's more of like maybe like 75% or 75 degrees, maybe 80. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much almost fully there. I like to put my elbow on my desk. That's the thing.
I take my hands, I turn them like I basically bring my hands like this and match the board. I don't do that every single time. I just kind of until it works. But that's like on when I'm typing, like I get someone even made a comment on one of our YouTube videos the other day. I hit the space bar with my right index finger because my hands rest like this on my keyboard because I don't like doing this. This hurts my wrists. So I rest my hand naturally more like this. So I type, I don't use my left thumb. I'm right-handed. And I think about, I'll just hit it with the index. So it's funny when I type on an Alice, a lot of the times I wind up typing correctly because my hands are actually comfortably there. So
yeah, I can see that. Cool. So one question I had for you guys is
ask away.
A lot of people, okay, they ask me what keyboard should they get? And sometimes it's hard for me to be like, oh, like get a custom or get this because there's just so much, I guess, extra work involved, and people are just like, I don't know about that. Like, I just want to go out and get one of the whatever board, like box boards, right? So, what would you guys say? Like, how can I get people to kind of like dip their toe into like
this community?
Board? Yeah, this community. Like, what is the board that you guys recommend if you're like somebody is coming from like a Ducky 1-2 Mini or somebody's coming from like a Corsair K70 or something like that? What is the next step for them?
I think it goes one of two ways, right? If they're okay with building it, tofu, 100%. Get a tofu. Okay. One of those. If they don't want to build it and they want to try something different, they could get something from like Leopold or Topre, like a HHKB, but that's like a complete different venture. Right. But I think one of the best things that they could get if they want to try a bunch of stuff is that glorious.
Yep, the GMMK.
One of the GMMKs. Because because it's got hot swap and it's inexpensive. You can go and you can buy some Zelios, you can buy, some pandas from Drop and throw them in there. So
yeah, Visionaire kind of beat me to the joke, but if you want to get into try the Bauer today.
Right. Get a little flex on.
I would if they're coming, the issue that I see whenever I get asked that is it's like, well, okay, you're 90% of the people are coming from the 1-2 Mini is definitely growing and it's helping people get into the smaller form factors, but it's harder to be like it's harder to convince someone who's like, I need my number pad, I need my arrow keys.
Mhm.
It's harder to convince people to try customs because we don't have that many cheaper options for a larger layout, which is why it's like, oh well, GMMK would be perfect. I think the alt and the control are also two very good options because they have the TKL option for only like $20 more. I mean, it's still, you know, if they're buying like the Corsair 170, that's the name of it, right?
The K70.
K70.
K70, yeah.
They're okay spending 100, $200 on keyboard. And that's one that gives the option. So basically anything that you can hot swap, because then it's like building is now not this daunting task.
Right.
So it's just one of those things that's like, you know, if you can get them on the smaller one, yes, tofu, hands down. Get a tofu that's like the whole thing will cost you like $250 unless you decide to buy Zycos for some stupid reason. um, but if not, yeah, the GMMK or alt control.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the drop boards because those fit
You can
the
get those
same
on Amazon.
Well, and they fit the same aesthetic as a lot of like the big box boards, as far as like it's got the RGB, it's got the glow bar around in the center. So it'll kind of be an easier transition and still allow them to try some pretty cool stuff. And swap the switches out, and they can get some pretty cool like keycap sets just through drop that fit only that board and save a little bit of money, like Red Samurai, or if they want to try MT3 and be wrong.
And I've tried the OEM caps they use for the drop. Those are fine. Like those are good. Like they're not GMK, but GMK sets will run you oftentimes more than the drop control.
Right. Okay.
So, and there's some new stuff Canon Keys is doing. Like he's releasing a lot of lower priced, you know, not very bells and whistles boards. And so whenever he starts being able, I know everything with what's happening in the world right now is slowing everything down a bunch, but he's releasing a lot of cool stuff that I'm excited to be able to tell people, hey, like Brutal 60, the Savage
65, yeah,
and soon
Wrecked.
the Wrecked 1800, which will be the full size. That's going to be one that I'm like, if you want that, yeah, it's going to be about $100 more than your box brand board, but you're going to get a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But anyways, buy a Bauer today.
Well, on Saturday, but yeah,
on Saturday,
close enough. Yeah.
And then I always get the question, what switch? Like, what's the first switch somebody should go with?
Ooh, that's weird because
especially for like gaming.
Dude,
gaming inks
all the way, or I mean,
inks.
or creams, inks or creams.
Inks. Here's why I will argue inks over creams. Inks are a better stock switch.
That's
creams
true.
Are not good stock.
But I would argue to say that creams, after like 6 months of use, kind of get to that. They get similar to inks in they get smoothness.
Better, but if you're wanting, if I'm gonna blow someone with a custom, if someone's like, here's $300, I'm like, inks. It's still a little bit pricey of a board, but inks are gonna be the one that kind of shines through.
And honestly, too, with alpacas and the mauves coming out, and if those are readily available, you could even save a little bit of money and get those, because those are pretty damn good too.
Oh, right. Respect, by the way, because you said in your Panda video that people say they're not for gaming. You're right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. Just game with whatever you're comfortable with. And I was like, right when you said that, I was like, forever, because he's just do what you feel like.
Yeah, I feel like as humans we're very adaptable, so like you're gonna like adapt to whatever switch you have in your keyboard, right? Like I don't think it's gonna like cost you the match or cost you a fight with somebody.
Yeah. Well, and there's so many like pro gamers that use clicky switches. Like, you would be surprised. Some of them use
Yeah.
browns, a lot of them use browns, but a lot of them use reds. But there are some that are like, no, I want my blues, which I'm like, what is wrong with you? But hey, you know,
More power to them.
Yeah, because I think that's why a lot of these like boards, like the even like the Razer Huntsman TE or the tournament edition, the Steel Series, the one that I said earlier, the Apex Pro, they're getting a lot of. They're like they're good, but they're like fad boards in a way. Like people are like they have the marketing, they have the like, oh, it's like you said, like 5 times faster, this and that, and it's like at the end of the day, like it's not really gonna matter. And I think once people realize that, I feel like they'll probably move away from those keyboards. I think.
yeah. What would you say is the best box brand board for someone to get right now?
Ooh. Like what I've been telling people is Leopold, because that
Okay.
was like the first board. That was actually the first board that I got. Like I think it was like the green and white one, the 750R, I think it was. Yeah, and like that one, like really just changed my whole perspective on like mechanical keyboards. And so I usually tell people to do that one, the 660M. I think. So usually like those, I say.
Dude, those are solid
Yeah.
boards. They come with good keycaps, like solid PBT keycaps, and they're built really well too. Yeah, Leopold stuff's good. I always forget that, like, I forget how good those are for the price too. Because it's like the same as like a Ducky. Like, yeah.
It's what I am seeing though, that what I notice about what Switch is gonna make me do the best. No, it's like whenever basketball players get a new pair of shoes, they're gonna play better if they are
Right.
excited to wear them, then they're gonna perform better because they're in a better. There is when you get a new board, you're probably gonna play because you're great. This is awesome. So you go buy what everybody else is buying, and then everyone's going, "Oh, I'm playing great." I'm like, "No, you're just happy. you're just not stressing out. You're not
That's facts.
angry. You're not that." And then like 3 months later, when the board starts breaking or you start slipping or you have a bad day, you're like, "Well, you blame your gear because
Yeah.
as gamers, we're not at fault. It's
It's always the team, dude.
internet, the
Yeah.
everybody else, the gear I have, everything is broken. But I am not at fault here. Just click on heads,
Yeah.
guys. As Osiris
I
would
know
say.
it's crazy like how much people downplay like game awareness. Like I play with so many players that are just like, oh, like my keyboard or my mouse, and like they'll come to me like, oh, what's the new mouse? Is this gonna make me play better? But some people it's just like positioning and like making the right decisions. And some people just like lack that, but they blame it, like you said, they blame it on their like keyboard or mouse. And it's just,
They're like, man, my mouse fucked up. But it's like, dude, no, you just are oblivious. Like,
yeah,
your situational
yeah,
awareness is terrible.
yeah. You're
No.
shooting out in the open from like 100 yards away. Like it's not.
So, all right. So I have a question. As someone who is big on reviewing mouse pads, as well as I'm sure I've seen you've got a couple desk mats as well.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the mouse pad versus desk mat argument? And what do you prefer?
Ooh, okay. Good question. So I tell people like the desk mats are like more for like aesthetics, because I've gotten some in from like novel keys, and like the humidity, or if you're playing for a long period of time, your arm just starts to stick or your mouse starts to slow down. So they're not as consistent as what I found. The one that actually was consistent for me recently was um, I think it was the Mizu desk
Mm-hmm.
mat from Dixie. Uh, you gotta flash it. So that one actually has been like kind of changed my opinion recently because it's just been so consistent for me. But usually, like I say, if you're like a gamer, just go with like a mouse pad. And if you're somebody that was more for aesthetics, you're a casual gamer, go with the desk mat. But
This has
yeah,
been
that's
an
just
argument that we've been having
Yeah,
for years.
we've
Years. I love desk mats, but I am I will call myself a casual gamer. I don't not try,
Yeah.
but I am very much more along the lines of like, oh, I'd rather just sit back, relax, play some Apex, have some fun.
Mhm.
Osiris is like, if I don't know every single call out on this map before I even spread one foot on there, I will not do it. It's
Uh-huh.
like so it's insane. So
Yeah.
he is what we call the hardcore gamers, at least in
Dude,
Overwatch.
man,
So
I'm I'm a hardcore gamer, but I've been against some of the hardcore gamer peripherals recently. I have a final mouse that's just sitting in a drawer because I don't like it.
ooh, I know Grindbox loves final bosses.
Uh-oh.
Dude, entire company's a meme in itself,
Good
but
old final mouse. Okay.
yeah, but no, I love my Zowie mouse
Yeah.
pad to go along with my Zowie mouse because I started with Counter Strike and Zowie rules Counter Strike. So I don't know.
Yeah. Zowie's one of those companies that they aren't updating their mice. They're kind of using older sensors. Like they don't care because like you said, they're so ingrained into like the CS community that they can sell whatever. People are gonna buy it.
Yeah,
Whether it's a good product or not. It's like it's Zowie, it's Counter Strike. It just goes together. But they were like when I was before all these like crazy light mice came out, like that was what I used as a Zowie.
What's funny is like, all right, ready? Hide your eyes for those. I keep the weight in my Logitech mouse.
Oh my
yeah,
chat.
Chewy.
I don't know if my viewers are watching this right now.
I gave
Oh
Chewy.
my god.
I gave Chewy my an extra EC1A that I have because I have two of them, and he was like, "This is too light," and I'm like, "That is a heavy mouse still." like that is a heavy mouse. I use a Zowie ZA13, which is like their lightest mouse that they make and also their smallest. But I don't
That was
know.
actually one of my favorites. That's one that I used.
I had a Corsair something 65. I don't know I think it was literally
M65.
M65, and I didn't like it was a little too bulky. And then I watched Counter Strike a bunch, and I was like, oh, I'll try this wireless G403. My favorite Counter Strike player uses it, so it must be good. It's actually a fantastic mouse. And I used that until it like broke in 4 different spots, and then I couldn't buy the 403 anymore, so I got the 7, which is the exact same thing. You know that,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. That one's a great
So
mouse.
it's this is I hate using anything else. So
Oh yeah. No, that mouse, the G403, 703, that's one of the best ones. It's still to this day, still one of the best mice. If you're going wireless, you want comfort, there's like probably nothing better.
now, if we're talking wireless,
Oh, he's gonna bring out the
So
this is what I'm talking about with wireless comfort.
no. Oh my.
the
No, I
trackball.
never game on this. I've done it once.
Oh,
Joke, and it was terrible. But for day to day use, this is the
you gotta have that and the 60% in combination.
this with a TK. So like I always talk to myself about how like if I ever had if I'm ever at like work where I need to do like a lot of Excel or whatever, like a big ass full size board, and this would be everything I need because I don't need mouse pad space
Mhm.
because it's all right here, and so the board can take up the rest. So if I'm ever like I'm in get shit done mode, like that's what I.
Can't do the trackball. Doesn't make sense to me.
So I have a question, Osiris. What made you stop using the Final Mouse?
I think it was more the shape. Like I liked the weight of it, but the shape I didn't like it. And I haven't tried the Ultralight 2, the Cape Town or whatever it's called, because I know that's smaller. But I have like if you go by what people say you should in terms of like your hand size to mouse, I am grossly overdoing it with the ZA13, but I have like a weird hybrid like palm slash claw grip, and I just couldn't get comfortable on the Ninja Air 58. So
Wait, does Ninja have a mouse now?
yeah, it's the one that you use on Fridays is a Ninja Final mouse. It is his mouse.
I use that for scrolling through websites, but
Yeah.
You know how many people would kill for that mouse? That mouse goes for like $300 on eBay.
Dude, I've tried to sell
He's
it in
like,
our
I just use it for
Discord.
scrolling.
I've tried to sell it on our Discord, but no one ever wants to buy it. So I don't know. It's in great shape. It's been used for like 2 weeks, and then it went into a drawer next to my two
you shouldn't let me
EC1As.
touch it because I'm gonna accidentally be like, bam, slam it into something. So I happened. Literally, that's what happened. I hurt my thumb using the. It was too light, and I was overdoing it and slamming my thumb into my keyboard. So, what mouse do you use now?
So I use I mean, there's a new mouse
I
on
know
my
you
desk.
use.
Like, if you look at like right now, like I have like like all over my desk, but the one I always come back to is like the G Pro wireless.
See, I need to
Probably
try
this one
that
comes
one.
back. Yeah, this one probably gets on my desk more times, or it's on my desk probably like 60% of the time when I'm not testing something. Yeah, so
So,
that's usually how it goes.
so here's a question:
Yeah.
if there was such thing as custom mechanical mice, would you get one?
So there is
I
one.
know
So
they've been trying.
this one is kind of like the closest thing that we've had. This one, like, you can actually like take off the shells. I don't know if you can see that,
Oh,
but you can actually take off the shells. You can take out the wireless and make it lighter, and then plug it in like just straight hardwire to your computer. You can replace the DPI button, so if you want it higher or not, you can do that. But this is probably the closest thing that we have to like customization, like out of the box. Most things, like, you can put a new cord in it, you can like put a paracord in it, or you can people are like switching out the switches now, so they're putting like Omron switches in there. So, but that's a little bit more involved, and then you have to actually like solder them in. So a lot of people aren't doing that just yet. But I think that's what I'm looking for this year is like the customization part, like maybe like hot swap switches for mice. I don't know. I feel like that would be pretty cool. Like, get a feel,
Get a box
whatever.
Navy in there. Just
Yeah, get a,
yeah.
get a
Be a little bit big, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Like, you want like clicky switches, whatever you want. So
you
yeah,
could see
that's what I see.
open that bad boy up, fill it with some like really dense brass, just really weigh that bad boy down like a 2-pound mouse. Just
So,
that's all I'm saying,
so
bro.
I have a question. What do you guys prefer, like, in terms of plates? Like, do you guys like brass, um,
Stiff.
aluminum, stiff?
Chewy's
Okay.
all about the
Brass-
stiffness.
Brass
Stiff.
plates are usually that's just the ones that I use. Like they don't stainless steel is just not really much. I do want a custom stainless steel plate cut for my FL.
Mhm.
But there just aren't that many like really nice ones out, and it's just not. People go, okay, well, either aluminum. It's like those are just the two most popular, with carbon fiber, Palm, and FR4 starting to make that rise into the next one.
Mhm.
I don't really care about the flex. That's not. I don't like that. I don't like I like when I bottom out on the keyboard. I don't want to push into my keyboard because I know I'll just keep pushing.
So somebody was telling me that actually makes it sound better. I don't know. Is that true? Does it actually make your keyboard sound better when you have like a board that flexes, or
I
a
think
plate that
it.
flexes?
I think it depends on the type of sound that you're looking for. I feel like a lot of people want like a more natural sound. I feel like
Okay.
so something like Palm. I really like Palm. Like I use my Sirius every single day, and if once they make bigger versions of the Sirius, which is an all Palm board,
Mhm.
I think I will definitely look into getting one. Just because I think Palm is one of the most natural sounding switches, whereas something like Brass has that. It still has ping to it. When you do
Mhm.
Palm, it takes that away. I know people are really big on carbon fiber right now, which is still relatively stiff. Obviously, there's a lot of variance in carbon fiber because the stiffness is based like 100% on how thick it is.
Mhm.
So like thinner carbon fiber is going to have a little bit more flex than something that's like, 2 or 3 millimeters. I like diversifying plate feel, but for me, the flex isn't about sound. It's more about, I like like for your spacebar, right? Like that's what you probably hit the hardest. It's not that it flex down. It's not the flex down that I like. It's the spring back that I enjoy.
So should people be looking at, like, let's say I go to get a custom keyboard, I'm joining a group buy. Is that something I should take into consideration? How stiff the plate is or how thick the plate is?
It just, I don't know, it kind of depends. That's one of those things where it's, as a first time user, I would have a very hard time. I would just tell them this is what, it's tough to make that call because, it's all preference. This entire community is built around, um, you know, s- start with Alu maybe, but like with how popular brass is in this community, like I know it's like double the price. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're getting a tofu, it's the difference between $20 and you're already spending a lot more on a custom keyboard than you would think. Um, I would still push people in the direction of brass probably, just because it will also add a little weight to the board, and weight means premium in the community. Um, so that's just one of the, if you're trying to go for budget, I would just pick aluminum, but or carbon fiber, just something that's on the lower end. But it's just hard. That's why we just tell people go to meetups, try as many different things as you can, because and really feel for the difference, because it can really change how you can have two brass plates that feel very different based on the mounting style and then you can have the exact same board with two different plates that are completely different. So it's such a toss.
I'd steer people towards what Dixie's saying and do an aluminum, just because it is a middle ground. It's stiff, but it's also like light enough to where it does have a little bit of play to it. But I mean, it's one of those things, if you're coming from like, what is it, like the K95 that is like all like aluminum already, and you really like the way that feels, getting something like a brass plate that's more stiff is going to probably be a little bit more up your alley, because the aluminum, like if you were to get a tofu, right, if the aluminum there is going to have more flex than it would versus like a K95, because it is that bent, either bent aluminum or bent steel. I can't remember what that one's made out of.
Okay. Yeah, because that's one thing that, like, right now, somebody that's getting into, like, keyboards, it's like, how do you kinda discern, like, what's good and what's not out of, like, because I can look at a thread sometimes, I'll be in, like, Geek Hack, somebody's like, "This is trash. Oh, this is amazing. This is trash." Like, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, so you get, like, conflicting stories, and I think that's the one thing that this year I kinda wanna maybe bridge the gap on, is, like, having like kind of discerning like what's good and what's not based on like facts versus like personal preference, and I think that's the hard part because it is very subjective as to like what you like. So that's the one thing I'm kind of dealing with, is like, I can say, oh man, I really love this keyboard, and so this is trash, like you don't know what you're talking about, like what, this sounds terrible, and it's like
Yeah,
finding a.
it's tough. So right now, and it pains me to say this, but I think the KBD 67 Mark II is like the like, this is keyboard. This is a top mount brass plate keyboard. That's going to be like the standard. Now, the Tofu's about to become a top mounted board. They're about to release a top mounted Tofu. So that could change my answer, and it's probably going to, just because it's most likely going to be the exact same thing, but a little bit shorter. But that's, one of the most popular ones right now, for inexpensive, just because gas isolation
Mhm,
mount obviously are very popular. But top mount is going to be the kind of standard, and then brass plate is going to be relatively close to the standard. If they offer aluminum as to save some money, then great. But yeah, I
mhm,
think that board is one of the best. Like, you want a solid board, get this.
mhm,
It's just funny to me too, because of like how things are always changing in this community. Like we go through like waves of different things being popular. Like back when the Zephyr came out, like around the same time as like the first M60 and Rama started doing a lot more stuff, like thick plates that were super super stiff were all the rage. Like the Zephyr had a 4 millimeter, was it was it brass? Yeah, it was
brass.
I couldn't remember if it was brass or stainless, but it was a 4 millimeter plate.
To build on.
Like thick, chunky, like no flex whatsoever. Like you got to get a machine to make that thing flex. And that was a board that was received super, super well. A lot of people loved it. Same thing with the M60, which is integrated plate, which is one of the stiffest things around.
That's stiff.
Now we've come full circle, and now we're to like everyone wants flex, everyone wants FR4, half plates, like things that are basically just
PCBs
like not even
that
there.
have relief cuts.
Yeah.
Like it is
So
what
like,
it is.
So it's like
It's
whatever's
hard to
the best
answer.
at the time.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But
Okay.
end of the day, the best thing you can do, in my opinion, to give someone the like, this is a solid board, is something top mounted with either a brass or aluminum plate and either inks or a little bit more. I would say, I guess, lilacs. If you can find if lilacs become more of a standard stocked thing, that or Zelio 2s, like for tactiles.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's just tough right now because there are so many things, and it's like you could find out. It's great that, and then hot swap, hands down, hot swap. Never tell someone to get their first custom should not be a solder.
So do you guys have a preference, hot swap or solder? Because Teha calls me a noob all the time for having hot swap.
I mean,
do you guys have a preference? Do you think it matters?
I mean, you are a noob for having hot swap. Just kidding. No,
'Cause I soldered my
you
first
think?
keyboard and I loved it. I actually loved the experience. I thought it
Mhm.
was gonna be like way harder, it was actually a lot of fun. But like most of the times, if there's a choice, I've been going hot swap. So like,
So we say multiple times. We've said it every single time that we talk about hot swap. We both wish that hot swap was available when we first started, because it provides a great opportunity to try out different things. Because inevitably, what's going to happen is you're going to buy your first switch for your first set of your first board, and then you're going to want to change it up. You're going to want to go to something different. And once you really figure out what you want, then go to a solder. I always make the joke that hot swap is like being in an open relationship with your keyboard. You can switch things out. You're not committed to any one switch, which is really nice, especially as you get more ingrained in the community too. It's nice to have to like, break switches in or try new things out without, trying a whole new board and being like, do I really want to, I know I love Zelio V2s, but I maybe want to try T1s instead. Let me put them in this hot swap board, see if I like them. And if I don't, then I'll just go in, V2s for my next build. Overall, though, I definitely prefer solder because there's more options, because you can do crazier things with your layout. You can, it's a better feel overall to me. But yeah, I like solder.
okay.
Same, literally this is key right here. The stepped caps lock.
Yeah, Chewy can't get the layout he wants in hot swap because he likes stepped caps lock with split backspace.
So I can get singing, but then I lose out on my stepped caps. But yeah, I think I tell people, hot swap is so good for getting started, but and then the other good thing too is you can use the tester board. You can break in switches. You can. It's like when you've got something good, like the Iron 165. You're like I know you're gonna want to put in, that's a board, or the secret board that you have coming. That's a board that you're gonna want some really good switches in, and you don't want to just like gamble on like maybe these will be. You want to put something in there that is going to be. So that's why I recommend also, if you're in this hobby and you're crazy like everybody else and want to buy multiple boards, get a hot swap board so you can try out switches, so you're not just saying, oh, well, somebody said that these are the best Switch, so I'm just gonna buy them and take their word up for it. And that's like, you might hate them. So
Yeah, like right now, I just got the. Originally, I was gonna put the creams into the queue, but I don't know. Like out of the box, like I'm breaking them in right now. So I heard you're supposed to break them in unlubed and then lube them and then put them in. So that's what I'm doing right now. But out of the box, I'm like, they're really scratchy to me,
Yeah.
and like I'm like, I don't know if I want to like solder this into something right off the bat.
Yeah, they definitely are pretty rough at first, but once you really get them broken in and then you lube them up, they really shine after a while. It's one of those switches that gets better with age. I
Mhm.
feel like there's not as many because Switch manufacturing has gotten so good, but for whatever reason, the creams are just so scratchy at first, and then once you break
Yeah.
them in, they really smooth out.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, because and that's a switch that everybody's like crazy about right now.
yeah,
The cream switches.
best gaming
Um,
Switch.
yeah,
You gotta
Now,
blame
here we go.
gotta
Here we
gotta
go.
blame Teha and Tifu there for that one.
no, dude, it's one of our top clips on Twitch is me cursing at KO Tejas, so you're good.
Yeah.
We like
So
the
why
fun
is that?
rivalry.
What is that? What is the story behind that?
Oh, me cursing? Oh, it's just I
Yeah.
just made a joke on it. I don't know if you ever played Jackbox, but there's just a dumb comment I made because I just put the is a Teja because people don't, and it just kind of took off. And then at the end of like saying that, when I was saying thank you, I just instead of saying thank you for coming on, I said the fuck is a Teja.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
he
clip.
was with us. He was
Yeah, and
with
he was
us.
like
Oh,
he was
they
like on
directed the
he was
narrative.
like on the stream with us. So it was I just said like thank you Quakeums for coming on the show. Also, the fuck is a Teja? So
That's a highly underrated piece of content from Mechs on Deck. Is that like 2 hours we were playing Jackbox? It was a fun time, and it was really funny. We were playing with Nathan and then Quakeums, which is one of our good buddies from Top Clock, as well as a couple other friends like
Jim
Janelle.
was there.
Yeah, and Grind.
How long would it take to break them in before moving? Depends on how much you use it. I usually find that about a month is usually a good amount of time. You'll feel it. Like there's just going to be a day when you're typing and you're like, oh, okay. Like whenever my Holy Pandas finally broke in on the 204, I remember I was hanging out in a Twitch chat with 001 Anthony. Timeout. Fuck. Like this suddenly just got way more enjoyable to type. So
Yeah, I feel like they sound good though. I like the
they
sound.
sound. I mean, they sound
Dude,
fantastic.
creams are my favorite sounding linear. They sound so much better than like inks and Telios and even the mauves or alpacas. Um, but yeah, they do take a while. And I've noticed too is like especially with those, a lot of times when you first lube something with 205 grade 0, it's like kind of sluggish at first. Like there's a little bit of almost stickiness. It takes a little bit longer with creams for that to kind of even out than it does for something like a Telio or a Mauve. So that's another thing. You got to kind of work at them a little bit. And then once they get there, they're like, oh crap, these are like crazy smooth.
Yeah. And they will break in with lube. It might not be to me, it'll be a little bit about the same. The other thing you're doing also is you're getting the switch or not switch, you're getting the spring broken in some. So like, also the other thing that's kind of awkward is if you want to spring swap them, you kind of have to like, I personally don't break in creams beforehand. I just lube them up because I'm already spring swapping them. I don't want to pull them all apart, put the spring in, break them in for a minute, and take them out and do that. I'd rather just do it all at once and just kind of have them, because to me it's like you use them plain for like a month and you're like, this is all right, time to lube them up, and then they're not even not that great. Like I'd rather just kind of do it all and then just get used to it.
Okay.
So
What is your guys' favorite keyboard? Like the number one keyboard that you have.
Tough.
It's a tough question.
It is a tough question.
Like, is there a keyboard you always go back to, or like you enjoy typing
I
on
mean,
more than the
so
others?
the issue with I'm gonna answer the Fiel.
Okay.
Wow.
But
Doesn't
that's
even pick the board he made. Wow.
But that's heavily influenced by the Switch that's in.
Yeah.
I think that I thought that I did a fine job lubing the switches. They're the first Zycos that existed, and it was just kind of, and they were broken in for like 3 months by my wife before I ever even put the switches like soldered into a board. They were in a tofu. So like that board is my favorite of the if I just am putting them all out. But when it comes to like actual boards, I'd go with my
The number one Baka 60. Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah. For me,
number one box.
for me, I have two as well. For actual like usage, I'm gonna have to go with my Sirius just because it's a board that I wouldn't be afraid to like just throw in my backpack and take it with me somewhere. Like it's a good beater board. It feels great. It sounds really good. And it looks pretty good, even though it's like not, super aesthetically pleasing. Like it's not doing anything crazy aesthetically. As far as sentimental value, like if I had to sell everything and just keep one, I would definitely keep my Orange 75 right now.
Yes.
Just because that's like the first big custom I got. It was like one of the first ones where I followed something from the initial interest check all the way through the group buy phase. Which is funny, even though I didn't get in on the group buy, I purchased it secondhand after the group buy was finished. But it was one of those ones I was like, I really, really want this board. I really, really want this board. And I couldn't afford it when it came out. And then one night I'm sitting on the couch with Chewy. And
funny enough, it was actually the night that Mech's on deck that idea spawned.
Yeah. We're sitting on his couch and I'm just like, I'm on Mech Market and I'm, new posts and I just refresh it. And I had literally been like, man, I really want an Orange 75. It's a board I really want. And then I refresh and it was like US TX for sale Orange 75. And I was like, what? And so I click it and then I message him instantly and I was like, hey, I'm really interested. What part of Texas are you in? And he was in Dallas. Like I was able to meet up with him the next day, buy it in cash, and like I had it, and it's just been a great board ever since. The PCB is absolutely trash, but other than that, it's an amazing board. It looks really good. Mal White is beautiful. I wish they would have still done burgundy, but other than that, my favorite board.
Nice. And do you guys have any like boards that you're like looking forward to? You have on what group buys are you in, or like upcoming that you're like super excited about?
Well, I know we're both looking to get some key colts.
Mm-hmm.
They ghosted me. I can't get one.
And then Godspeed. I'm excited for Godspeed. I'm excited to do some. I'm excited for a 70% again. That's like I'm very excited for that. Just because I really do like 70. I think aesthetically 75% are some of the best looking boards because you get that coloration of the F row. Like it really helps the caps kind of shine. And that's why I really like my Austin because it shows off every set. So
yeah, I'm really excited. So I also have a Baka 60. And it's at a Cerakote shop right now, getting Cerakoted into an OD green, into olive drab green to match with GMK olive. I'm really excited about that because that's going to be the first one that I get. And then, like Chewy said, Key Colt. And there's some other ones that I'm looking at. There's some other ones that I'll be getting that I'm like super, super stoked for. But I can't really talk about yet.
So. Just can't say anything yet.
Some fun secrets. Some fun stuff.
With the Baka 65?
Dude, it's happening.
Yeah.
Put my name on that fucking trash. I'll make a Baka 65 and then I'll just throw it on the ground.
We
Just,
joked-
slam it. I'll pay for a Baka 65 and then Osiris will follow me into the parking lot as I just mutilate this board.
Like right over with the
we
car.
we joked about having him make a Baka 65, but make it to where the PCB is the size, but it doesn't have any of the holes. Like it just exists that big, and then the case is just like blocked off there. So it's still just a 60, but it's in a 65 case, and like all that exists, but it's just blanked out.
It's just the same length, but instead of there being a spot for a keycap, it's just metal.
Yeah.
And then how do you guys feel about like window keyless?
Dude.
I love when keyless. It's
Or
here.
when
You
keyless?
should grab my Baka.
All right, I'll grab your.
All
I
right.
don't know if it's close. So I love Wind Keyless. I think Wind Keyless to me is my favorite 60% layout, favorite pretty much anything layout because so the Baka, that's the board that I designed.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Got the
thank
lime
you.
on there.
Yeah. Here's the back.
And so
When's the next group buy?
I had planned it for those interested. I had planned for it to be April, but I also didn't plan for the world to end.
Yeah, dude, World War III, us versus the coronavirus.
Yes.
So soon, things basically when everybody else starts, when the world kind of starts kicking back into it, I'm waiting on some PCBs to come in to confirm because I didn't run. That's just a standard PCB. I didn't run it with a PCB this time. But it's coming. I promise. Like I will definitely be doing it again. It's just there's no rush for me personally. Like I would love if everybody could do it, but I also for those who were in the group buy that I initially did, like I updated every single day. Other than I told everyone like I'm not going to do any updates until for like 6 weeks. Just don't bother me about it. I'm not going to tell you because there's not going to be anything to even report. And then I updated like every single day, and I don't want that there to be a situation where I'm just sitting there like, sorry, no more updates, no more updates. I want it to be kind of a tight ship. So, although I'd love to be running one right now, I'd have.
Yeah, right. You'd have so much time to get to take care of. What about you? Can you do Win keyless?
I think that's what I'm gonna go with next. I think I can do it after I kind of was resisting for a long time. But then I'm like, how often do I really use the Windows key? I don't really use it that often. And I feel like I love the aesthetics of it. So yeah, I definitely am looking into getting a Windows keyless very soon.
It's funny to me how many people are like when Linus did the Bauer video and people were like, how do you launch programs? And it's like, you have a mouse. Like
Yeah.
you have a mouse.
like
you could also
else.
reprogram it. What most people do, like what I do on my Win keyless is I put right alt, like Alinsky just said, I put my right alt to the Windows key. So you just map it somewhere else.
My function is on my caps lock. So my function key on my short right shift, that's just my Windows key. So, because I don't need 2 function keys. So I just throw it up there and boom. I forgot. Someone told me I should do that. I don't remember who it was. And I owe them so much of you because
The one thing I can't do is the HKKB layouts.
Oh, yeah.
The control. I cannot
got to be able to crouch, man.
Yeah, as a gamer, that's just I just can't. I can't fathom that.
I don't understand how Teja plays CS with an HHKB. Like, I guess he just doesn't crouch.
Either that, or I think the common thing is to put control on caps lock, so
Right.
you're using that. But then you're
Yeah.
flip flopping, and I can barely
Yeah.
go from a split backspace to a normal backspace, let alone control on caps lock.
Yeah,
so.
but control on caps lock. But then what do you do with your there's so many other things that you could put on caps lock that are better. Your push to talk.
Yeah.
I've always moved crouch on right through.
But,
Oh, I was thinking layer 3. I was like, damn, Dixie, like multiple layers to get to crouch. Guys, if you guys have questions for either of us, but especially Mr. Brandon Taylor, please at Mechs on Deck. So it's just slightly easier for us. Find it in the chat. Yeah, I had 2 HHKB boards, and then I realized I was like, I want to be able to use every board that I have. The Alice is the exception, but technically I can game with it. I just don't. But every board I had, I kind of told myself I should every board that I have should be able to do pretty much every. So that's I got rid of my HHKBs. I just love aesthetically cool keyless looks,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah, I think both look aesthetic, but I just cannot, like, I don't know, the crouching thing just maybe if I was just like programming or doing that kind of work, maybe, but I don't know. I can't get over it.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. And win keyless for me too is like at first I was like, man, I miss having Windows key right there. Like, and I would press just like the blank space that is either metal or like plastic. But then I'm like, how often are you in a game and you just like you go to press control and all of a sudden you're like Windows pops up and you're like alt tab from your game and then you die because of it. Like how like that would suck, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Don't they have like don't all the box boards now have like gaming to your Windows keys?
Yeah, to like lock your left windows.
Yeah, they have like a dedicated button to that where you can like turn it off everything, the RGB. Good stuff.
But RGB gives you better frames, which gets you more kills.
Dude.
So are you guys in the camp that like hates RGB?
No. I mean, I'm literally, like I said, I have a
RGB board. Yeah.
That has RGB. The issue is the RGB, this is rainbow on top of or underneath camp, which doesn't technically make sense, but I just throw it screw it. RGB kind of like we have these beautiful keycap sets that aren't shine through.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of goofy when under it. But I mean, if you're doing something like I've always wanted to a very early build of mine, I had black on black PBT, Enjoy PBT cap set on black Tina, and I had RGB under it, and I was like, this looks cool, it's sleek. It's got the all black stealthy look, but then I can turn on the rainbows whenever I want. So it's just this like aesthetic. I wouldn't mind bringing that back. I might go find GMK Dark and make something like that. But for now, I'm just like, I don't really need.
So do you guys feel like, because I always try to sell people on like GMK sets, like I'll post like the Dixie sets, and people are like, "Are these shine through?" Like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean they're not shine through? What? Like,
yeah,
and you only pay like 110 or like 120 for like non-shine through keycaps. Like, what is? I'm like, guys, like the keycaps are like, I don't know. I feel like they like speak for themselves, right? Like
they sound better, they last longer, they feel better. Like, man, yeah, I don't know. I was actually just thinking about this. I've never had a per key RGB board because even my first one, my original Ducky was just blue. It was just blue, and then I used the PBT caps that came with my Tada for a long time, and then I built one that I used. I put in switch LEDs in it, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't hate RGB. My computer is next to me, just spitting out rainbow puke. And it's been on rainbow puke since I got it. Not that I like look at it really ever, but I don't know. RGB doesn't matter to me. I'm not against it. I'm not like RGB everything. I think that's a little bit ridiculous. Like when people have the monitor that has the light that shines RGB on their desk, the desk mat.
Alex Odo's just subscribed. Right? You're shitting all over him.
Whoa, yeah, you can't,
dude.
By the way, Alex is amazing.
Dude, he is.
Alex Odo's is great.
What up, man?
I was giving Alex shout outs last night on stream. I scared him down. Totally kidding.
I'm not hating on RGB.
I was saying on my stream, I'm like, I feel like Alex is like your bank account's worst enemy. Like as far as artisans go. Like
Oh,
every
yeah.
time he posts a photo, I'm like, man, I want that. I want that. Luckily, everything is usually sold out by the time I look at it, or the drop is over. You know,
Dude, artisans are a slippery slope that I know Chewy's going further down than I am, but
I've got this one. Someone tried to buy it. Someone like kind of threw out there like, hey, I'm looking for this specific one. I'm like, yeah, and I wonder why you're here specifically on the channel with
the
guy
day
that
after
bragged
you
about
showed
having
it.
the day after I showed it, and I was like, sorry, you're gonna have to come pry it from my cold dead hands.
You know, that does segue well into a giveaway that we are currently doing.
Oh yeah.
We actually have partnered with an artisan maker named CYO Caps, and I have myself one of them right here, which is the Yeti Owl. I'll show it to y'all in just a second here. There you go. So you can take a look at that. It's pretty sweet. It's our colorway. And then Chewy has, we are actually giving away 5 of what Chewy has, the Ambassadors. So if you do exclamation point giveaway, you can see how to win one of those. Pretty cool little caps. In Mechs on Deck colors.
So if you want to jump down the rabbit hole.
man, it's a jeez. Like
It's
I
a
think I
wrap.
posted something. I think it was like it was like the blank blue set, the light blue set.
Mhm.
And it had some like artisans on there. They were like all the light blue. And Teja's like, dude, you can't like. He's like, you won't be able to afford that or whatever. I'm like, he's like, dude, don't even try. Like,
He's giving you good information. The
Yeah.
issue is I'm very good friends with some different artisan makers that show me what they're working on. And I'm like the other day I just asked Janelle, I was like, what's a good artisan box? Shit. Like, it's one of those things where I was like I think I just went, ugh, can't believe I'm about to fucking ask you this. So
Yeah, dude. I need a bad luck. Like, I need a bad luck cap. That upside down umbrella.
That's the other thing too, Alex, is Janelle's like, oh, this one's coming out. It's great. It's got 35 cap space for it. I'm like, no, because I'm a completionist. And I'm going to go, oh, I need to fill it. It's not going to look right in my head until I fill it. And then it's going to be like, oh, you filled it, but you also want to put the caps on the board. So now you got to get like 9 more. The next thing you know, I'm like running around on the street, trying to sell off every last piece of non-keyboard related item I own for a piece of plastic. Anyway, rant over.
So I put the link of the board that I posted with the artisans, and he was like, "No, dude." He's like, "You won't be able to."
I feel like not only will they be
those are hard
expensive,
to get.
you won't be able to find them. Because that's the
Right.
thing, is finding them. Dixie, thank you for giving BT a sub. Appreciate
I
that.
was gonna sub. You took away my thunder. I was gonna sub later.
Also, thanks for giving out a gift sub earlier, Dixie. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's the thing about artisans too, is you end up looking at them and you're like, man, I really want this, and then you find out, oh, it costs $500 for this one cap. I'm good.
I'm good. That's like the guy. Like there's a lot of my favorite right. Oh, thank you.
Dude,
Look at you.
There you go.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks,
very
man.
much.
Appreciate it, Wendy. Thank you for 5 gifted subs.
Arcarp, Anti-Spy. I believe these are all people your homies. So I think that worked out in your favor. Thank you. Thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. But no, I think like I really like. There's not a lot of variety of caps I like. I just like different molds and then a bunch of different colors in said. So,
you guys like SA or DSA or anything?
yeah, SA yes, most of the time. DSA no.
Yeah,
I find I can't game on SA. I don't know why. Like I just cannot game on it. Like no matter like how hard I try. Boomer.
Yeah, I love ATX's QKBs. That is so true. They are boomer caps because they're like legitimately straight out of a dang typewriter. I typed on SA, so it's funny. I typed on SA for like a year and a half, and then typed on DSA for like 6 months. I don't know. Just like when I went full GMK, I couldn't go to back to SA or DSA.
Yeah.
I do like SA way more than DSA. To me, the only plus of DSA is the fact that it's so small. If you put it on a board that is also really small, it's nice to like take around as a travel board, you know, just throw it in your backpack and you're fine. But SA is like, it's expensive to get into because the sets are just naturally more expensive unless you're getting something like Max Key SA and you have to wait a long time. Granted, now GMK is getting longer wait time, but still like a set that you bought, you know, in December, you're going to get in the next December or the next January.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got SA, I think looks better aesthetically for pictures. Like I got SA Godspeed. SA Godspeed was kind of that unattainable grail. And they just ran it again. I'm just waiting for SA Camping. I think SA Camping, it's whatever that comes out, I'll probably buy too.
I'm actually waiting for that too as well.
But as long as they do Camping Round 1, they do SA Camping Round 2, I'll be very upset. But the Zap, thank you for the follow, and ALNVF, thank you guys for the follows. I don't plan on getting much more than those two, because if a set comes out in GMK and SA, I'll just go for the. If I like it enough, I'll like it. But I didn't like how GMK Godspeed looked. I don't think all text works on GMK as well as it does SA. And then camping is just kind of so.
Yeah, that I'm waiting for them to. I didn't like the camping that they had with the Japanese writing on it. I didn't like that run, so I'm waiting for like just the normal run to come through.
Dude, it's the best.
So clean.
Dude, camping looks
is
good.
My favorite.
Looks good.
One set I'm really looking forward to getting in is like the Olivia Plus Plus.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one set that
Did you get it on the group buy?
Yeah, I got the dark and the light.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah. What about you guys? Did you guys do it?
I did not get on the second round because I knew it being during Christmas, I was too busy buying my wife Rainbow Ultra Boosts. The Woodstock ones, they're legit. But I was like, oh, they sold 1,000 in the first day. Cool, I'll get extras.
Yeah.
It won't be that hard to find.
So Chewy got me a GMK set for Christmas as a Christmas gift, and he gave me the option of either Olivia or Dual Shot, and I went with Dual Shot. So I thought, same thought of like, I could totally get Olivia Plus Plus on the aftermarket for pretty cheap. Dual Shot's going to be a smaller released set. It's probably not going to have a lot of extras. So let me get Dual Shot. Also, shout outs Dixie.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you guys take that into account when you're like joining a group buy? Or are you like, oh, I'm sure there'll be extras, or is it?
Oh, the extras, yes. There are a few sets that so like GMK Sloth is one that I'm going to be buying day one. That's coming out.
Yeah, I like that one. That one's nice.
GMK Sloth is going to be one that I just immediately get in on. Modern Dolch was one that I was very, very excited. Those were the two sets that were like, these are my two sets of the year that I know about. Obviously, more stuff's going to come out. But and then SA Godspeed was kind of a surprise because I remember they announced it, but then there was a lot of that will they, won't they? But outside of that, I'm kind of like, if the set doesn't do well, then and I really like it, then I'll get in on it. But if it's doing really well, I'm like, I will pay the extra $20 to not have to be able to buy something different now, maybe switches, maybe a board, and then go get the set.
I think there's also like the thought process of which set needs me to buy it to maybe like help it out a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's some sets that do like, if it hits 500, maybe they'll add this. Like Metaverse was one where it was like, if it hits 500, we're going to add some caps. If it hits 1,000, we're going to, you know, add some things. So take that into consideration as well. You know, like if a set's selling like 5,000 sets and one's selling like it needs some people to buy it, and I'm trying to decide between those two, I'll get the one that needs some sets to buy it, and because I know later on I have a better chance of getting that one on the aftermarket. Because I've been burned on trying to wait, which Olivia Round One was one that I was burned on waiting, because it came out so well, it like instantly shot up in price. There hasn't been many day ones for me. 8008 was like I would have bought it on day one, but then I totally forgot about it, and it was like literally the last day, and I was playing Overwatch with the Top Clack guys, some other people in their Discord, and they're like, "Yeah, 8008's about to end, and it's doing really well," and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I instantly like tabbed out, bought the set, and then I was like, "All right, now I'm ready to play."
Yeah. Has there been any sets that you guys have been like disappointed with? Like you got it in, you're like it like just wasn't what you thought it was gonna be? Like colors were off or anything like that?
Hyperfuse Origins.
Yeah, which worked out well because that's now
Yeah.
mine, and I love
Hyperfuse
it.
Origins. I thought I was so excited for Hyperfuse Origins. Here's the issue. My favorite color is green, and I got Hyperfuse Origins, and then I got a TX60 in gray, and the TX60 and GMK Camping came in like the same few days, and I built the TX60, and I put Hyperfuse on it, and I was like, this is good, but it's not like I want this to be great. And then I put Camping on, and I was like, there it is. All right, I no longer like Hyperfuse Origins. And so I was just like, I had bought Osiris GMK Burgundy for his birthday. And I was like, hey, you know what? Fuck it, I'll take Burgundy if you want Origins for your birthday. And he was like, yeah. I was like, all right, sweet. There it is.
Nice.
It's like, yes, I will take set with purple.
Yeah. So
What about you? Is there? I haven't had anything where I've opened it up and been like, I hate this, I'm selling it. I haven't had that. What about you? Have you had anything that you've opened and you've been like, hey, I want to get rid of this?
Tell you what I wasn't disappointed by.
there it is.
No, there hasn't been anything because usually like I pretty much know I don't know, I can pretty much see things beforehand. Like I know kind of what colors will match with what.
Mhm.
And so I haven't had anything really disappoint me. One that really surprised me actually was the Red Sun Samurai. Like I wasn't expecting anything from that. But Drop sent it to me and I checked it out. I was like, I really like this set. I've been surprised by sets, but not like
I think
yeah, hopefully knock on wood.
I think the opposite. I didn't think I would like Striker as much as I do.
Yeah,
I thought that came out better
mhm,
than I thought. I still wouldn't get it because I don't like Sub Legends,
mm,
but I thought that it looked a lot better in person. I initially thought it might. So
mhm.
Yeah, one for me like that too is Bento. Bento, I was
Oh,
like
yeah, I got the bit.
contemplating. I thought it wasn't going to come out well because of the salmon for the legends on the modifiers. I just thought it wasn't
Mhm.
going to look good. And then when it came out, it does look really good. Does not picture well,
Yeah.
but it looks good in
Yeah,
person.
no. Dude, you hit the nail on the head. Like I have it, but when I picture it, it like I don't know, doesn't really look the way it looks in person. I don't-
Yeah, it's hard to get it to look good. Like,
Mhm.
and then yeah, one above all. Vaporwave is a new set that a lot of people are posting pictures of, and I'm like, man, that came out really, really well. Um, didn't think it would. That's always my big thing is like sets that have either alphas or modifier legends that are that you when you look at it, you're like, that's not gonna work. But when they come out well, it is super surprising.
That's the hard part is like I see a bunch of stuff and I'm like, oh, it looks okay. But then when people start posting pictures on like on Reddit or like Geek Hack, you're like, or Discord, you're like,
yeah, renders are
Are
great.
there extras? Are there?
Yeah, renders are great, and then you get natural light in there.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Definitely slept on that.
Yeah.
So, but no, I think that's I'm very excited for Modern Dolch. I'm gonna make my second, if I can get the 160 in white. I'm gonna make my second like pumpkin spice latte keyboard and put Modern Dolce Light on a white Kegel 160.
Nice.
Just basic, like, yep, there it is. That's what everybody else is gonna do. Like, yep, that's me. So I think that's that. If I can get that with, I'm gonna try to do some 89 gram Zyos and go just like real crazy with the heavy weights.
I really got to try these heavy weights.
Man,
Dude.
it's fun. It's
fun.
you know, I had to sell Osiris on it right from the get go, but it was like the difference to me just it felt better typing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the more tactile the Switch is, the better it feels.
Better.
Mhm.
It really rounds it out. Like it really does. It really helps round it out.
So what are some switches that would like benefit? Like if you could recommend like, okay, go up and buy this weight with these switches, I think it would kind of change your mind. Like what switch?
74 gram holy.
Yeah.
74 gram. Okay.
Yeah. Like a heavier Holy Panda feels really good because it really smooths out the bump. It makes it not as aggressive because I think that's a lot of people don't like the Holy Panda because it's so aggressive.
Okay.
But it really helps that out. And honestly, if you just want your linear switches just have a little bit more bite to them, throw some heavier springs in a ink.
I feel like they're smoother.
Yeah.
I feel like they're slightly smoother when there's a more resistance. I mean, maybe that could just be bias, but I just, who
Dude,
knows?
and if you like the sound of creams with like a lighter spring, try it with a heavier spring because when that pushback when it hits the top makes it sound so much better.
So what would you recommend for the creams before I like lube them and everything? What would be like a good weight for the creams?
80 grams TX springs.
80 gram. Okay.
That is, I would say 90 or 89 grams.
That's
but
pretty heavy.
I don't want to, we don't need shell
90.
shock from throwing it down. But
I'm gonna come back. Just gonna get a
Try
measure
it.
from me.
We gotta taper off before we completely go crazy.
Try it for a little
but
bit.
the good thing is springs are cheap.
Yeah.
You can get them.
Yeah.
They're very expensive. It's $8 for 100 springs, at least on knob keys. So, we guys, if you have any last questions, throw in the chat. I'm gonna go through our sponsors real quick one more time. Dixie Mech. You can go to mechsondeck.dixiemech.com to pick up GMK Botanical Hour this Saturday, noon Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Western Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Try and get in on those raffles. That's going to be huge. Those are going to be boards that you are not going to want to miss out on. Next up, Project Keyboards on GMK Ashes. Go check it out. Use the link in the chat. Candy Keys got GMK Honey and Cat Atlantis. Check out those sets. Type Beast, join the newsletter now. He's got some great opinions and great things to say about the community. Switchmod.net/mechsondeck for lube and lighter springs. He doesn't have the heavier springs yet, but he only has the Cat Wee Wee spring. But if you need some springs, definitely get that in the lube as well. And last but not least, Zap Cables makes the best cables I have ever used in this hobby. Go check it out.
So that kind of takes us into our final two questions. Not sure if you are prepared for these, but
Okay.
But the first one is a little bit more serious. The second one is something we always Chewy and I bicker over every day. But the first one is, what is your favorite and least favorite thing about the keyboard community?
Ooh. So I think my favorite thing about the keyboard community is how willing some people are to help. Like I've had like Visionary, right? He just sent me the cream switches, right? Didn't ask for anything. He's just like, I just want you to try these, and like send me a bunch of the switches he made. And I've had multiple people just like want to help, so there are all those people that just like want to help. They want to teach you. They want to like, they genuinely are excited that you're getting into it. So that's one thing I feel like the community can be like really good. But I've also run into like elitist people as well, where it's like, my keyboard's better. This is this, like, I have a TGR, like F you, it's like,
Yeah.
like
So you've met
anything that you
Mignos.
say. Like F anything that you say, like, so I guess it's like I guess with any community, there's gonna be like good and bad people. And then like I guess one downside is that you gotta like wait for everything. You gotta wait like years and you forget. So I guess that's one thing. You'll be like super excited about something, you buy it, and then you forget. You just have to forget about it
Yeah.
for like a year, right? So
Solid
like,
financial advice.
yeah. So
It's an investment, right? Like just
yeah,
put your money there and then
Forget about
forget about it. And when you
check
comes
back
back,
in a year.
yeah,
yeah.
when you get the product, more often than not, it is worth more than you paid for it. So hey, solid investment.
There you go. And then did I answer both the questions?
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last question. The Office or Parks and Rec?
Ooh, The Office.
Yes.
I gotta say The
It's
Office.
the year of The Office, man. I'm giving
Yeah.
up at this point.
Dude.
We're well into March and no one Parks and Rec this year.
Yeah, dude.
I know. I could never get into Parks and Rec. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I could never get into it.
Dude, I love me some Parks and Rec, but man, The Office just it holds a special place in my heart. I remember every Thursday when I was in middle and high school sitting there and watching The Office. It was either Thursday or Wednesday. It changed. It was both. But yeah.
Uno, dos, dos.
Uno, dos, dos.
Well, Mr. Brandon Taylor, thank you very, very much for coming.
Thank you guys for having me.
I learned, I learned a lot about box boards that I didn't know, and more about mice, because I'm glad that someone else is talking to me about mice, because Cyrus would just kind of talk at me about mice and why I should get certain ones, and I'm like, but I like this
Alright.
one. He's like, no, but
Chewy.
this one. I'm like, okay, but
Chewy, after this, we're gonna get together. I'm gonna send you. Okay, I'm gonna send you a mouse. I want you to try it. I want you to tell me if you would switch from your G403. All right.
I'm down.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a mouse.
I can tell you
Better
right
be
now,
like-
he's not going
better
to.
be like 900 pounds. So, but yeah, thank you very much, guys.
No problem.
I'm gonna throw in exclamation point guest. He does weekly tech reviews. He does some awesome stuff. Make sure to check him out. He's also you've picked up. I guess last night you picked up streaming a little bit more again. I guess
Yeah.
you took a small little break. Perfect time to start streaming.
Right.
We're all practicing our social distancing. So
Yeah.
you got to do what you got to do. But thank you very, very much.
Thank you guys for
Sure.
having me. It's fun.
Talk to us.
Good time.
Yeah, I learned a lot. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on. Chewy, who you want to host here?
Doing Mr. I am me, you are you.
Good old buddy.
Remember, guys, Friday, Mech Madness, crazy shit went down this week.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we'll be live
And
Friday, 8 p.m. Central. Mech Madness Live, going over this week's matchups, talking about it. Chewy will be here with me together.
Not practicing social distancing.
Getting as close as possible. Up in each other's grills.
And if you want to win this board, let's time this out. We're doing a terrible job timing this. If you want to win this board, make sure you go out and vote.
Ooh.
Go out, vote for it. Signed by Linus. But yeah, check that out, guys. Make sure you're voting on Instagram for Dixie. Thank you, Mr. Brandon. Go check out I Am Me, You Are You.
you,
Great keyboard streamer. Y'all have a good night.